how to become a limitless learner in 3 days at absolutely no cost.
Well, it's not just about absorbing all the information as fast or as much as possible. It's really about learning to be selective and learning where to go and understanding what phase you're in.
You still persevered. I don't know what got you to do that.
Now, there's always this little feeling inside of you. There is something more to life. There's something more to life, but you didn't understand what.
You feel like you're not enough because the world is not validating or, is treating you a certain way. And then you also feel deep down there's something that's more.
It's important to embrace the change, but also grow with it.
Change is scary, right? Growth can be hard, but nothing is as scary as hard as being stuck somewhere that you don't belong.
It was horrible, but it was not until I found Kwik Learning. I feel like it was destiny, and it truly changed my life.
Life is difficult for one of two reasons. You're leaving your comfort zone or you're staying in your comfort zone. And comfort zone's nice, but not much grows there.
All you know is that you just put a lot of effort and time in you and in others, and that just transforms in a magical way that you never even have imagined.
I never want to be famous. I want to help people, but I want to be famous. But you were asked a very simple question one day. You're like, welcome to the Kwik Brain podcast. This is your host and your brain coach, Jim Kwik. And always, we're here to help you master the number one skill in the world, which is learning how to learn. This is going to be a different kind of show. We're here in the office, and I get to introduce to you right now our most special guest out of almost 400 episodes, my business partner of 17 plus years, our CEO, really the brains behind our business, Alexis Banc. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you so much for having me. It's pretty exciting to be up in front, while I'm always behind the scene, and it's, now I get to, watch myself through the production process. So fun. Thank you for having me here.
Anywhere people have experienced our work, you started our YouTube, you started our social media, you started online courses back in 2008, which just seems like a lifetime ago. More than a decade and a half ago. But you lead and very mission driven to build better, brighter brains, no brain left behind. And I want to invite everybody to something that we're doing that has never been done in the learning space before, accelerated learning, brain optimization, which is a 3-day virtual summit. And it's called the Limitless Learner. I mean, who doesn't want to be a limitless learner, to redraw the borders and boundaries of what's really possible? And we're conducting this on August 5th, 6th, and 7th. And the reason why we're doing this, there are many reasons, but you and I were talking off camera about this. We live in the millennium of the mind, and there's this renaissance that's coming. And it really gets to express itself through people actualizing their potential, their limitless potential.
Well, it is our mission to bring back the renaissance of the mind, because it used to be, back in the days, I think Leonardo da Vinci was he's the prime example of the Renaissance man, sharpening your mind, working on your body, all of those things. And I think, that's coming back again in a new way, because now we're in a very fast changing world with AI, technology, everything. But how do we show up in that world, and how can human minds play a bigger role with this changing world? So I think it's important to embrace the change, but also grow with it. So bringing back the renaissance of the mind, sharpening our most valuable asset, our brains, with it, having better critical thinking skills, recall, all of the things that we talk about. So it's been our mission really to bring back this movement of the renaissance of the mind.
And there really is not only a science, because we talk a lot about neuroscience in the show, but there's an art to the mind and how it expresses itself. And everybody has a unique power and purpose. For those of you who want to join this, I encourage you right now to pause this episode and go to the limitlesslearner.com. The limitlesslearner.com. Secure your spot and share it with your fans, your followers, your friends, your family, people who could really benefit from it. You'll see all the details. We have some very surprised guest speakers, And what are some of the things that you're excited about exposing our community to? Like what was besides the inspiration? People are distracted, they're overloaded, AI, technology, everything's fast paced, like taking a sip of water out of a fire hose. But we believe as a company, the faster you learn, the faster you can earn. Because knowledge today
Absolutely.
is not only power, knowledge today is profit. If people have seen pictures of us on social media with the Oprahs or the Elons or the Richard Bransons, people always ask how we connected. We bonded over our love of learning, right? Because
Mhm.
you learn to earn, and then hopefully you return also as well. But what are some
Mhm.
of the topics you're excited about at this 3 day
Mhm.
event?
I mean, there are a lot of things, I'm always excited about all the stuff, all the things we work on. So that's a great start. But what I'm most excited about, well, if our audience watching this, they love learning. They're probably lifelong learners already.
Yeah,
So I don't think we have to tell them why that's important. But what I used to think learning used to be like before I found out about the limitless model and all the work that we're doing, I thought you just have to go in a lot of random places and just try to absorb as much of the information as possible.
mm,
But through the years and also, working with you and being around some of the greatest people, it's not just about absorbing all the information as fast or as much as possible. It's really about learning to be selective and learning where to go and understanding what phase you're in. And I really believe that limitless model truly captures the areas that are important to focus on. And, over the years, we've really fine tuned the key needle movers
yeah,
in any area, anything that you want to change or develop or get better in. It fits into every scenario. So I think having that distinction of where to look and also helping people how to upgrade in each area, I think that's what really sets us apart from a lot of other, I mean, there are a lot of great things too, but I think that's what we focus on. It's what sets us apart. And we really focus on actionable items. So
yeah,
it's not, yes, inspiration is there. It feels great to be around other like-minded people. Um, that's the fun part. But the real practical part is that after every session, we really focus on the actionable items.
yeah.
So one thing that you can do right now to see the results, see the difference, things that you can start doing. And, when we look at a lot of the concepts and everything, like we really focus on the things that are sustainable, that are doable, not always easiest, but they are doable,
Yeah.
but also sustainable for long-term results. So I think that's what I'm most excited about. And we have a lot of things. I know we're getting into the details of everything right now. If you're
Yeah.
watching this, we've already past it, but there's a lot of things going on in the behind the scene. So we're really excited to share what we have in store with
It's
our
going to be
community.
very special. This event, this 3 day virtual event, again, if you're just tuning in, we invite you to enroll and join us on 3 days of complete transformation. I believe you change your brain, you change your life, you change your brain, you change the entire world.
Yes.
Because this is really that you are the pilot of your mind, you're not the
Mhm.
passenger. And this 3 day event, we are curating the most amazing experts, mentors to us, people we've learned from their research in the areas of mindset, how to change
Mhm.
limiting beliefs and then negative self-talk. We have an expert coming in to talk about purpose. This person, you know who this person is. We have another person coming in talking about brain foods, like what's the science and base foods to nourish your mind. Also, somebody coming in talking about physical exercise. What are the best exercise for cognitive health and cognitive performance? We have another individual coming in talking about sleep. And if anybody has any sleep issues, this is the person absolutely to go to.
Mhm.
We even have somebody coming in talking about habits, and another person like how to construct habits that are empowering to you, and how to delete habits that are pulling you away from your
Mhm.
true self. And also an expert on flow states. And I'll, of course, be there teaching our content on how to focus in a world full of distractions, how to improve your memory when you feel like memory lapses are coming too often, also how to read faster, and so much more. It almost sounds too good to be true. The reason we're doing this and we're investing in the production, and the production is quite a production. We're in a massive studio for 3 days, and every wall is full of cameras, and people will be able to join us, and it'll be almost like we're in the same room together. It's very extremely interactive. So this is like nothing that's ever been done before in the area of accelerated learning. But when you can learn how to learn, I mean, you could earn more, right? You can be do so much more. Now you mentioned inspiration. People know that my inspiration was my desperation with my head injury and losing the most special person in my life. I mean, my grandmother to Alzheimer's when I was 7 years old. Some people have heard you on our audiobook. At the end of the chapters, we're having conversations about that chapter specifically, how to put it into play. But maybe you could take a couple minutes and why is this work important to you? Like what your personal experience, were you born? I mean, you could do everything, and there's some things you could do even better than I can. Reading, memory, focus, you're extremely productive. You lead this team, you wear many hats. You have children, right? You have your balance. Yeah, there's this harmony. Why has this been your work for so long and continues to be your work in the future?
Well, without going too deep into it, it's always hard to think about the past because it always makes me emotional. It's it's been a long journey, and I don't want to just lump it all into like, oh yes, I moved here, I didn't speak the language, because there are so many people who go through the same dilemma. But what really held me back was even living and growing up in Korea, the feeling of being not only limited, but feeling being trapped and feel like, you're somewhere where you don't belong.
So we're talking about, why this work is so important. And this is different because you're normally behind the scenes, making everything happen. But it's not just about making dollars, it's about making a difference because of what you went through. And people don't believe in you. It was very difficult to be in school. You didn't understand things the way other people understood things. You were labeled, called names, right? And, maybe people didn't go through that same scenario, but people go through something. We all have self-doubt. We all have things that treat us harshly and unfairly. But you're talking about that you still persevered. Like, I don't know what got you to do that, or makes you so passionate about the work that we do. Maybe because of your own personal transformation, that you didn't show up this way, CEO of a company where with clients in every country, in the world, and the impact that we're having. But yeah, what was school like?
It was, well, challenging to say the least at first. But then once I started to get a bit of hang of it, it was boring.
Okay.
So I went through all spectrum of emotions in childhood, I think, just from struggling to boredom to curiosity to, all of that. But the circumstance that I had in the past, it was very different. And I know the feeling of not being accepted, feeling like you're from another planet, to you don't belong, and why me? All those thoughts I've had.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that there was another way. But there's always this little feeling inside of you. I'm sure you felt it too growing up. There was something more to life. Like, there's something more to life, but you didn't understand what. I think that's what really kept me going despite, all the things that we commonly experience. I'm sure, like, a lot of people feel that. And I had hard time just accepting that life is everything that we were taught. Like, okay, like this, you just have to go to school, get a job, and then, work some more, get married, have kids, work a little more, retire. That's like a generalized version of what life, like what we think we were supposed to do. But there's so many things in between that makes it so much more richer. You could do all of those things too, but there are experiences and things, how you shape your perspectives, everything that changes the experience that you have. And I didn't know that because I didn't have that example. And also, because I wasn't doing good in school and because no one believed in me, I really thought I was like, okay, I'm just not smart. Maybe I was just born this way. And you start putting this limiting beliefs on yourself because of the environment and circumstance that you're in. And it wasn't until later, after school, I started to get a little bit more into books and I got exposed to different ideas. But I was a bad reader too, so it took me forever to like finish one book, and it was horrible. But it was not until I found Kwik Learning I feel like it was destiny, and it truly changed my life.
So how did you hear about us back then? I mean, this is 2007.
I found out through someone I knew. He was BC in New York. And I was very, like, I wanted to be an entrepreneur because I knew school was not for me. So I wanted to get out just to
Because in school you were studying pharmacy, you were studying sciences and everything. And you know a friend of yours, a venture capitalist in New York City, and then
was a friend of friend. Yes.
Okay.
And he's like, oh, this is not for you. You have to go out and, that you're meant to do this. And I mean, I think I was fortunate enough for some people to just kind of nudge me, and my brother too. My brother's been a huge part of that. I think he always been more of an entrepreneur than me, but he's the one who actually nudged me into, this is not for you. School, like, you're not supposed to be a pharmacist. Why don't you come to this event with me? So he's the one who actually got me out of that circuit. It's funny how things come in full circle. So yeah, one thing led to another, and then I found Kwik Learning, and the most important thing was that I was blown away by what my mind could do. Just not even realizing that it's possible, but even just not only seeing that it's possible, but you doing it yourself and seeing how fun it could be. My thought immediately was just like, oh my God, why didn't we learn this in school? So
right. So you came to our learning center in Westchester, New York.
Yeah.
Went through reading and memory programs. You did extraordinary with it. Made some good friends, amazing friends that were there also, because not just the content, but the connections and the confidence you get from it. Yeah, I remember that class specifically because there's still people there that are dear friends of ours to this day.
Yeah.
And, shortly after we started working together, because I had this limitation where I just like, okay, we have this learning center and I'm okay with that. We teach classes of 30 people or so. And, I never want to be famous. I want to help people, but I don't want to be famous. But you were asked a very simple question one day. You're like, why aren't you helping more people? And, with the potential of the internet, and, we were one of the very first people in the, early stages, taking courses, putting them online, to be able to affect, more change and more transformation, and so that I credit you with that completely. Otherwise we would just, there's a good possibility that 20 years later, we'd still have that just learning center and nothing else. But you brought us into the 21st century, if you will. And I think you're doing it again with this launch, because this is like a 21st century way of transforming. It's not only just going to be educational, it's going to be very entertaining and very empowering also as well. It's interesting, the Limitless Learner. Who is this for, these 3 days? Who would you say would benefit the most? Are you ready to activate your competitive advantage and achieve unparalleled success in your personal, professional, and your financial life? Welcome to the Limitless Learner Virtual Summit on August 5th, 6th, and 7th. By registering for and attending this free 3-day virtual event, you'll learn how to double your brain power, to double your earnings, and maximize your free time. Just go to thelimitlesslearner.com to secure your free spot.
Anyone who's passionate about learning and growing, because the number one thing that, well, maybe not number one, but one of the most significant things I've realized recently, because I've spent a lot of time growing and developing myself for the last nearly 2 decades now, it's helped me to show up better as a leader for the team and other people, because at a certain point, you really don't have to do any more for yourself. You're like, okay, I got it. But you understand the level of transformation, the feeling that you get from it. And all you want to do is just transfer that to someone else.
Yeah.
And I think I wouldn't have fully understood it without going through it myself. But in order for that to happen, I had to learn first. I had to grow first. I had to do that for me. And then now I fully understand. I can internalize what process had to happen in order for me to go through, for that to happen to me. And then I can take that and give it to someone else. And that's where I find a lot of joy these days. And it's like a different level of joy, instead of just seeing your own growth, seeing someone else's growth. And that just transfers in many different ways. And I think somebody who's really on the path of truly wanting to see what they're made of, what they're capable of, it never stops. It's an ongoing journey. Yeah. And we want to be around people who are lifelong learners, who are passionate about it just as much as we are. And it's not about and I know now I know that who I am today, it's only temporary, because who I will be in the next 10 years is totally different, because I've seen it every 5 to 10 years. It's like a huge shift. And when you're on this path, it never stops. And then that's what lifelong learner means. And the meaning of learning changes, and the meaning of giving changes through every 5 to 10 years. And when you're on that path, you just become you get excited to see what's to come. You don't know, but all you know is that you just put a lot of effort and time in you and in others, and that just transforms in a magical way that you never even have imagined. So anyone who's on the path of lifelong learning.
Yeah, I would say you summed it up really well, even in your story. You had these two feelings. It's like you feel like you're not enough because the world is not validating or is treating you a certain way, and then you also feel deep down there's something that's more.
Yeah.
Right. And so anyone who's listening to this or watching this right now, if you feel one or maybe even both the situations or experience as you reflect on your life where you were not included, you were kind of somehow taught or labeled some way, it could be in any different area, right? And then yet somewhere deep down that there's more in store for you, right? Mm-hmm. And you're looking for a resource or a mentor or a community of people who are like-minded. I feel like people are attracted to our work. Either they're really struggling with distraction, they're overloaded, they have bad habits, and they are very forgetful, something, or they brain fog, or they're already successful and they know they want to reach another level of success and happiness, and they want the tools and the techniques and the resources to be able to achieve it. I'm the first to admit, change is scary, right? Growth can be hard, but nothing is as scary as hard as being stuck somewhere that you don't belong. Yeah. And so Limitless, again, it's not about being perfect. It's really about advancing and progressing beyond what you're demonstrating or beyond what you believe is possible. It's about redrawing the borders and boundaries. And I feel like it does start with our mind. Mm-hmm. And so any great achievement, if you're going to create a new renaissance, And you were saying every 5 or 10 years, there's this shift. I feel like you're right, that there is this shift in society, that there's these compelling forces, political, economic, market forces, right? That created an undue strain on us. And I feel like what's inside, it sounds so cliche, but what's inside of us is so much more powerful than what we're facing, right? And I really do believe that, I mean, people have heard me say this before, that life is difficult for one of two reasons. You're leaving your comfort zone, or you're staying in your comfort zone. And comfort zone's nice, but not much grows there. So we want to invite all of you to join us. It will be a place where you'll be challenged, where you'll learn and connect with new people, and also learn some amazing, usable, practical content that could transform your mind and your life. Now, we are going to emphasize during these 3 days our wealth, meaning that I do believe our brains are number one wealth building asset, but I know a lot of people are struggling in that area. We will talk about brain health. We will talk about flow states. We'll talk about habits, reading more, how to be able to remember client information, product information, give speeches without notes. But there's going to be a real focus on how to transform that learning into earning. Because I do believe the faster and more you can learn, the faster and more you can earn. And, money is one of those things where let's take care of that part by, tweaking your beliefs around things like how smart you are, or, oh, I can't be an entrepreneur, or I can't, learn that quickly to keep up with all of that. All the information is out there in books, but a lot of people go out and buy books. They sit on their shelf unread. It becomes shelf help, not self help. But you could read a book, I know you read like at least a book a week. You could read a book. Well, imagine this, if you could read a book on management, on entrepreneurship, on negotiation, on brain health, on any subject that's important to you, and you're doing 50 books a year, that's such an advantage. And so those are some of the things we're going to touch on those 3 days. And we've made it so easy where there's absolutely no excuses. We made it free. You can upgrade to a VIP if you like to get the special connections and groups and go deeper with us, but it's not necessary. I do recommend people register for it, even if they can't attend all 3 days, so that you could we're only sending the 24-hour replay to those who register for it. So at the very least, lock in your spot. Because if you miss it, you're gonna miss a lot. We've been planning this for a long time. We've handpicked experts that you're going to learn so much from, and I think like you're also going to be inspired to put it into practice and apply it. So we're looking to make a global shift, invite people from all around the world to join us. The website again is thelimitlesslearner.com. If you want to be a limitless learner, you love learning and you just want to do it better so that you can have more treasure in your life, not just financial, all the treasures of your life. We invite you to join us.
And I also want to just emphasize that, you mentioned, yes, information's everywhere. There's a lot. I mean, you can find anything you're looking for, but for most people, do they know what they're looking for?
Yeah.
The challenge is that, and it's not even just the information you're looking for, but understanding where you are, because we all go through different phases. And what I've learned in business too, sometimes what works for very mature, advanced company is very different from what a startup would need. And, people are the same. So when you're starting out, there are different things that's more advantageous. But as you grow, it changes. And you have to change your methods. You have to change the information. It's a whole new way of thinking, whole new way of looking at things. And most people don't know where to start, and they also don't know where they're at exactly, so they don't know which one is. And there are no bad advice, but I think sometimes good advice, bad timing also have bad results. So knowing that and having a roadmap, and I feel that we created a pretty good roadmap for anyone to really look through, just push their reflect through to see where they're at. And, we'll guide people through, this journey. And I think it's it's exciting. So whether they're starting out or in the middle of something or advanced, I think everyone will find something very valuable.
During this 3-day event, it's also this is the first event we've ever done of its kind. We really want to be disruptive to be able to have the impact that we want. It also falls on your 40th birthday. And I'm just curious, as your 40-year-old self will celebrate at this event, so you could all celebrate Alexis at this event with us. What would you say, looking back to that, 10-year-old girl 30 years ago? Any advice?
I would definitely let her know that all the power and answers I'm searching for is within me. The goal is to look within and remember and keep going.
Yeah.
Just keep going and keep learning.
I believe there's a version of us that's patiently waiting, and the goal is we keep going until we're introduced.
Yeah.
Yeah. This has been fun. We've never done this before, so this is...
First time.
Yeah. Well, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I hope you appreciate. I really want to use this opportunity not only to invite you to this landmark event that we're doing, this 3-day virtual, the Limitless Learner event. We hope you secure your spot. You go to limitlesslearner.com. Please, it's free, but we just ask you to help us on our mission. Alexis and I want to build better, brighter brains. That's what our team is all about, to leave no brain left behind. We just ask you could register for free at no cost. We're producing everything. We're financing everything. We just ask that you just share it, if you will. Share it with your family, your friends. Have learning buddies to go this through, because you'll learn it better and you'll enjoy it even more. Second reason I wanted to do this selfishly was to talk to, my partner of almost 2 decades, Alexis, and shine a spotlight on her. She's usually avoiding it, kind of make everything work behind the scenes. But we really appreciate her leadership and her emphasis on the importance of learning, that everything is learnable, that everything is figure outable if you're committed and you just keep going. So thank you for listening to this episode. We look forward to seeing you at this virtual summit, thelimitlesslearner.com. And until we see you again, be limitless.